Welcome, Raskefing. I've been so looking forward to this conversation. You always manage to bring such a profound depth to topics that seem, on the surface, to be so conflicting.
Conflict, Sophia, often arises from looking at the same landscape through different lenses. And today, we have quite the landscape: Genesis, evolution, and humanity's place within it. It's a vast inquiry, isn't it?
Absolutely. I've been poring over these three very distinct interpretations, and my mind is a bit buzzing. Let's start with the one that feels most expansive, the spiritual science interpretation from Rudolf Steiner. You mentioned it often resonates deeply with your own seeking.
Indeed. For me, this isn't just a different reading of Genesis, it's a different mode of perception. It suggests that the Genesis account isn't describing physical events observable by our modern senses, but rather supersensible happenings. Imagine creation not as a singular event, but as a description of vast evolutionary stages, a reawakening of cosmic periods like ancient Saturn, Sun, or Moon.
Supersensible. So not something you could put under a microscope or dig up as a fossil? More like a spiritual blueprint unfolding over eons? And the 6 or 7 days aren't literal days, but these immense cosmic periods, felt or perceived clairvoyantly?
Precisely. It's about what existed before in etheric or elementary forms now emerging again, but in a modified way. And central to this is the role of the 7 Elohim, divine beings working in concert with a shared resolve. Their goal? The creation of the human form. Can you imagine? The human being as the goal of the gods.
Wow, that gives humanity such an incredible significance, doesn't it? A divine heritage. And the document mentioned creation out of nothingness as crucial for human evolution. How does that fit in?
This is where it gets truly profound. While nature cycles between involution, essence rolled up like a seed, and evolution, growth, humans, unlike plants or even animals, can add something entirely new between birth and death, something not dictated by past causes or even karma. This something new is creation out of nothingness.
So things like what? My logical deductions, my appreciation for beauty, or acts of kindness that go beyond what I have to do.
Exactly. Logical thinking, aesthetic judgment, that pleasure or displeasure, and especially moral action driven by duty, fairness, or pure kindness, rather than just karmic necessity. These are not merely human attributes. They are things the human ego creates beyond itself. And this creative capacity is not just for our own benefit.
It nourishes higher spiritual beings, the spirits of personality or the spirit of the age. That's an astonishing idea, that our deepest thoughts and virtues are like sustenance for the spiritual world.
It is. It transforms us from merely creatures into co-creators. It offers a framework where our individual and collective development, like forming a society based on brotherhood, isn't just social good, but a vital contribution to cosmic evolution. It gives humanity strength, hope, and the confidence to create a future from this nothingness, a future where the effects of old causes fade and new light shines forth. It's a path of constant becoming.
That's a lot to unpack. It's so inspiring, but it feels so far removed from the more familiar traditional interpretations, like the Young-Earth Creationist view. That one asserts Genesis 1 through 11 must be taken literally, as historical fact, 6 ordinary 24-hour days.
Yes, a very different foundation. For them, that literal understanding is paramount. It's the bedrock of biblical authority, underpinning everything from moral law to the purpose of existence. They see any attempt to reconcile Genesis with modern science, what they call long-age science or compromise views, as a capitulation to secularism.
And they claim that if you don't believe in a literal Adam and Eve, a historical fall bringing death, and a global Noah's flood, then Christianity itself becomes irrelevant, right? They see it as a decline of spiritual and moral moorings in society if we move away from this literal interpretation.
Precisely. They attribute many positive societal developments, sanctity of life, education, charity, democracy, to historical adherence to this biblical worldview. Conversely, they blame agnosticism and atheism for societal decay, seeing it as destroying the beauty of art and eroding moral foundations. For them, spread
is billions of years old. You can't just ignore that.
Indeed, they argue that rejecting vast amounts of established scientific evidence from astrophysics, geology, and biology just to maintain a literal Genesis interpretation is unsustainable. They point to radiometric dating, the cosmic microwave background, the fossil record, genetics, all pointing to an ancient Earth and universe.
And they challenge the idea that the Hebrew word yom must mean a literal 24-hour day in Genesis, suggesting it can also mean an age or a period of time, allowing for compatibility. They say rejecting Genesis as literal history doesn't mean theological compromise.
Many Christian theologians and scientists adopt frameworks like theistic evolution, where God guides a natural evolutionary process, or allegorical readings of Genesis. They emphasize the Bible's theological depth without forcing it into a scientific straitjacket. This view also asserts that science can explain origins, consciousness, and morality without reliance on Genesis, through evolutionary psychology or neuroscience, for instance.
So things like altruism, ethics, even consciousness can be understood as products of natural processes. And death isn't a consequence of sin, but a natural, necessary process for evolution and ecological balance. It aims to avoid unnecessary conflict between faith and reason.
Exactly. It suggests that insisting on a literal interpretation alienates scientifically literate individuals from faith. This approach promotes intellectual humility, openness to new ideas, and a deeper appreciation for life's complexity as revealed by science. It cultivates environmental stewardship and empathy, recognizing our evolutionary heritage and place within the natural world. It seeks a more nuanced and inclusive worldview, prioritizing critical thinking and compassion.
Raskefing, it's incredible how different these lenses are. On one hand, humanity as a goal of the gods with immense spiritual dignity and a responsibility to create the new. On another, humanity was literally created in 6 days, fallen, and in desperate need of a specific historical belief for moral salvation. And then, humanity as a product of eons of evolution, with faith and science potentially coexisting, seeking truth through both. How do you reconcile them in your own seeking?
Perhaps it's not about finding a single exclusive answer, but rather about understanding the profound questions each perspective tries to address. The spiritual science view offers a grand, purposeful cosmic evolution, calling us to conscious spiritual contribution, transforming us into co-creators. The Young-Earth Creationist view provides a clear, unwavering moral foundation, seeing a literal historical narrative as the absolute anchor for truth and societal well-being. And the science-compatible view strives for intellectual integrity and harmony, seeking spiritual meaning within the vast, awe-inspiring universe revealed by scientific discovery.
So it's about what provides meaning, purpose, and guidance for living, rather than just an explanation of origins.
Precisely. Each offers a different path forward towards individual and societal well-being, grounded in their particular understanding of origins. What path I invite you to contribute your something new to the world? What calls you to live with dignity and responsibility, to transform and to contribute? That, perhaps, is the true unfolding story for each of us.
That's a lot to sit with, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Raskefing, for helping me see these different facets of the truth.
My pleasure, Sophia. The journey of inquiry, like evolution itself, has no end. Peace.